Welcome to another episode of Conversations with the Candidates. It's a new year when it comes to town elections, and the thought is to have conversations with some of the candidates that are going to be on your ballot, whether it's in the town of Whitman or in Hanson. My name is Kevin Tocci, and I will serve as your host for this program. Today, we are going to get acquainted with folks who are running for the Select Board in the great town of Whitman. Joining us is a gentleman who is an incumbent. He is looking for your vote so he can serve, so he can win an 8th term. We have Mr. Dan Salvucci joining us.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Mr. Salvucci, how are you?
Very good.
I never want to assume that everybody knows who you are.
Okay.
Right. But for those who may be new to town, maybe new to politics, right?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, there's so much to tell, but tell a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Dan Salvucci, and I'm looking for my re-election for my 8th term. I was on the Finance Committee from '96 to 2003 when I decided to run for election for selectmen. I won the term, and I've been on it ever since. I'm going for my 8th term, and I just enjoy helping out the town. I've been in this town for 47 years, and I just want to do what I can. I sit on lots of boards and committees and helping the town. If you want a list of them, I have like Joint Transportation. I'm Vice Chair of the Joint Transportation. I'm a signatory for the MPO Metropolitan Planning Organization, where I represent towns with a greater population of 15,000 and more. I'm on the MBTA Advisory Board. I'm on the Plymouth County Advisory Board. I represent Whitman at South Shore Votech. And that's just a few of the boards. And then I get home town boards like the Building Committee. I was on with the police station, now for the DPW. I was on Friends of the Park. I mean, I'm retired from Star Market, and I just enjoy giving back to the town.
When it came time to go and pull papers, your nomination papers, was it easy? Was it an easy decision to say, yeah, I'm going to run for an 8th term? Or, you know, what is it that's motivating you to want to continue to serve the town and serve on so many committees?
Right. Well, I talked to my wife, and she says, what do you think? I said, yeah, I want to run. She says, okay, it's up to you if you want to do it. I did, and I got my papers on that Monday afternoon, got all my signatures by Tuesday afternoon, turned them right in. I don't waste time. If something needs to get accomplished, I get it done. It's that simple.
Let's start things right out of the gate and talk a little bit about the town's finances.
Okay.
We know town meetings are around the corner, usually the first Monday in May. Give me your assessment of the fiscal 25 budget.
It's tough. We have been running into some problems in the last few years. The biggest cost to the town, of course, is education. And unfortunately, the state has mandates, but they're unfunded. And I do not understand why they would, expect towns to educate their kids on subjects that are needed, and they demand it, but they don't fund it. I think that's wrong. Same thing with South Shore Votech. And the only way that we can solve the problem in South Shore Votech is Tom Hickey, our superintendent. He bottom line budgets. I mean, he looks at the budget with, and he tells his superiors, his supervisors, you got it last year, you don't need it this year. You need to control the budget, and that's why we come in with like a 4.3% increase in our budget. Whitman's budget is a little bit larger because we have the most students. We got 14 more students this year than last year, and it just continues to climb. On the other hand, Hanson is losing students, and their enrollment is going down, but yet their budget is going up. So it's just a matter of them controlling what they have. They're looking for 11.6, I think, budget. But when we told them that we can't afford it, both Whitman and Hanson, we couldn't afford a 1 point $100+ million override, they were able to cut the budget and look at it and come up with a little over $500,000 for Whitman and a little over $400,000 for Hanson for an override, if we need it. My question would have been, why didn't you do that in the beginning?
Do you think residents still understand what the annual assessment is about when it comes to regional school district? We know that, as you mentioned, I would say $509,000. That's Whitman's side that they're asking. Is the $509,000, is that above the 5% that the town is willing to
Yes.
meet? Right?
Yes, we will support 5% for the Whitman-Hanson budget,
Right.
and they come in with a little bit higher, 7.11 maybe. So it's an increase of a little over 500,000, and that monies will raise the budget so that it'll go towards the school this year, but it raises everything so it's part of the budget next year. All boards and committees, all the departments. So it's for the schools this year, but it's for the town departments next year.
Are we talking that there could be possibly a Prop 2.5 override?
Well, basically, this is almost like what it is, when you raise the levy limit by $500,000, it's spendable next year.
Right.
And we're going to town meeting, we're asking it. If it passes the town meeting, it'll go to the board, right, to the election. They'll vote on it. If it doesn't pass, it will still be on the sheet to vote on it, but the fact is, we'll tell the people, because it didn't pass, it doesn't make any difference what you vote, for the main fact that they make the election papers, they print them well before, so there's no way of taking it off.
So I guess my question to you is, you're not new to having conversations about doing a Prop 2.5 override. What is your thoughts? Are you somebody who says this is something that I'd like to support? Again, knowing that this is going to be something that will stave off teachers from being cut from the school district, knowing that it'll affect the Whitman Middle School and the high school. I mean, is that something that you take in consideration when you decide whether I'm supporting this or I don't know if we need it? Right.
I'm not a big fan of going above the Proposition 2.5. But there are some needs. And I'm a big supporter of needs, but not a big supporter of wants. If the needs are for a $500,000 override or debt exclusion, then I will vote for it, right? To keep the schools as best we can. But I mean, if it's something that is way and above what they need, the town already pays the state's minimum contribution. It's just the state is failing the school systems by demanding that we have mandates, but they don't fund them. And I have a problem with that.
Okay. Let's talk capital projects.
Okay.
We know for many years there was attempts to fund a new DPW building. That has passed. State assisting with the financing of a new middle school in Whitman. What do you see, this is a two-part question, what do you see as the next future capital project? And is there something in development, like a 5-year capital plan, to be able to kind of identify capital projects down the road so the town can prepare financially?
Right. Well, the next big capital project is a brand new school for South Shore Tech. Our school was built for 600 students. We have 678. Whitman has most of them, 150-something students, went up 14. We have 8 in the district, and we just got a 9th town, Marshfield. But we can only allow 20 students a year to enter because we don't have the room. Our building committee just voted to go with a school to be able to handle 900 students. The reason for that, and the first thing I wanted to do was like 805. But I was convinced to do the 900 because we have Marshfield joining us. We have the town of Pembroke is considering it. The town of Hingham has asked about it. And we've had other towns looking at us. And if we go with 3 more towns joining the district, that will lower the assessment for the 8 towns that are in there now. As soon as Marshfield comes in and we give them the 20 students, the only problem, if we don't have a new school and we stay the way we are, that means we're not allowing students from in-district, right, to come in. So in other words, if Whitman's base student enrollment, we'll say, is 120, and we have 141, we may not be able to go over the 120. And as it is right now, there's about 80 students that need to be that want to get in to our school system from Whitman, and there's no room for them all.
What is, you talk about Marshfield being added,
Yeah.
right? They were approved
Yeah.
by the district overall.
Yeah.
When do they start factoring into the bottom line where it's going to reduce all the other members, what their assessment is annually?
Yeah, 2025, right? So that.
So we're going to see it, we're going to realize it in the next budget.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay.
We'll just see how the money runs, what goes. But 25, 2020, 26, when, we allow them to start coming in, they have to pay a certain amount to get in because there's still money, that was on the school. And then once they buy in, that's what some other towns couldn't do. So once they do that, we allow 20 students in. There's so much a student we charge, for base amount, and there you go. I mean, at one time, we had enough open spaces in our town and our school system to allow out-of-district towns to come in, and that Marshfield was one of them. And the state said we had to pay, I think at the time it was around $18,000 a student. The monies that we got is stuff that we didn't budget for, right? And that money we used to use to buy capital projects, so we didn't have to assess the town. And what money was left over, we voted to give back to the towns in the district. Last year, we took, I think, $31,000 off our last payment on our school assessment. That's what we do.
Okay. Let's talk about being able to invite in more commercial business. Would you be in favor of, as a member of the select board, of multi-story buildings along Route 18? Weymouth has done something similar in a way to be able to attract maybe national chains like the Lowe's, like the Home Depots, to be able to realize real tax dollars on the rolls.
The buildings that are along Route 18 in Abington as you get towards Weymouth, and by the old, I'm trying to think where it would be on Route 18, but they're too big. I mean, the buildings that we have in the center of town, that one that they built, I thought fit in the center of town. I'm hoping that they'll build the exact same thing across the street. The buildings, the condos that they put in along Route 18 in Whitman, and you have a few of them right on Route 18, they're not so huge that it sticks out. But if we build condos like they have in the old shipyard, and things like that, I think they're just too big.
Okay. What can Whitman do to attract more businesses? Is there enough commercial space? Is it commercially zoned to be able to bring in more? I mean, because the thing is that Whitman is known as a residential community.
Right. Well, that's starting to change.
Okay.
We're right next to Brockton, so we're getting, more types of businesses that would work in Brockton now works in Whitman. I think we have enough used car dealerships along, in town, but we have other stores. Center of town is really outstanding. It's very busy, but we'll say after 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, it's empty.
It's quiet.
It's quiet. You got like McQuiggan's Pub, right? That's busy. The restaurants are there. But I think having huge buildings like they have in Weymouth, even Abington on Route 18, I I'm not really that in favor of.
Let's talk about MBTA communities, the
Okay.
law. Put it on the books in 2021.
Yeah.
177 communities have to. Now, it isn't necessarily just the ones that are located near, the commuter rail like Whitman is,
Yeah.
but it's also the abutting communities as well. Give me your thoughts about this overlay district where it's supposed to create more housing, affordable. It's going to create zoning for affordable housing. Give me your thoughts. Where's Whitman at in your assessment?
Yeah.
Are you for this or are you concerned?
For this.
Okay.
This is something that we talked about years ago in our advisory board, the MBTA. What they were looking to do was the MBTA was looking to add affordable housing in the area of the T stations where parking was not needed. That people that live there who wanted to take the T can walk to the station and take the train. This is something, and they were willing to invest in that. And at that time, a lot of towns didn't do it. And I mean, I talked about Hanson, where the old cranberry factory is, right? They never did it. They're working with it now, and they put some building behind it, so that helped. We have ours by the T station, and we may be able to put some land there where we could build some housing, but it's basically low-income housing, yes, but the T is looking for ridership where parking is not needed. I think it's a great idea. I mean, why not? I mean, it'll bring more people to the center of town, to shop in our businesses. It'll bring in tax dollars. And I'd say we're a growing community.
Any concerns that there may be folks who are not in favor of it? Maybe they want to keep that small town feel? Because there are communities. Look at
Right.
Milton.
Yeah.
Milton, they passed it at town meeting. And then when it came to the vote, they voted it down now. They're having to deal with the state attorney general.
That's right.
Where they can lose a lot of their grant funding.
That's right. This is something that is, I mean, to look at the housing that's there, why not? I mean, is that going to be that big of an issue? I mean, we're not putting in huge housing. We're just building, condos and things like that. I mean, we have the condos that are on Route 14 heading towards Brockton. That has no issues there. We have all the condos that are along Route 18, where there's a lot of housing in there. No issue. It looks good. It built it up. Whitman is a small town with big city functions. In other words, we have sewer connections, right? You get the Hansons, you get the all the other small towns, that don't. They have septic systems in their houses. We have a sewer system, right? And clean water. You hear of towns around us like, that have issues with brown water. We don't have that issue. We have, because it works fine. All right? So we have big town and facilities, but we still have small town atmosphere. You know what I mean? Look at our park. We have kids coming from out of town to play basketball in our park. Why? They feel safe.
It's quiet.
And it's quiet.
Riddle me this.
Okay.
What would you say is the town's biggest need or biggest issue, and what should town officials do to address said issue?
Okay. Biggest needs, of course, is
Need
fine.
or issue?
Huh?
Need or issue?
Okay. Biggest issue is to maintain our buildings, our town buildings. Town hall is staying in there. Amazing as it is, where it's 125 years old probably, but we're controlling it, we're handling it. Our schools, we're building with a new middle school. We got a new high school. We got 2 elementary schools. Hopefully, they'll last a while, but that's going to come down the line. Our senior center, very small, and seniors are growing. I'm one of them, right? That being said, we may need a larger senior center someday, and it can't be there,
Okay.
right? We're growing in needs, and I remember a lot of people were saying that when when they were voted yes in the town of Whitman, I was opposed to it, but that's me. town meeting says what they say, I do. So we'll be having them coming here, but it's taking a while for the process to work because the state works very slowly to make sure that any shops that are here selling are safe and secure.
Whitman is known traditionally because of the Toll House cookie.
Right.
What else would you say should this town be proud of?
Our town park. It's an homestead design. The DPW keeps it in great shape. You see people come far away to come and enjoy our park. Graduation, Whitman Hanson, where do they show all the pictures? In our park. You see a lot of people using it, walking around.
Weddings.
Weddings are there. Ball games are there.
Concerts.
I mean, that town park is unique, and it's beautiful, gorgeous.
I call this next to last question, it's the blank check question.
Okay.
So basically, it gives you an opportunity, maybe there's a topic or subject that I haven't brought up during our conversation that we haven't discussed, but maybe you want to take a moment to talk about, or maybe there's something we talked about earlier that maybe you might want to, once again, say something further on.
Yeah. Well, I think what's probably most important in Whitman and people are having problems with is our town education. I mean, the school education. I support it, but we need to look at how we're educating our kids and what is affordable to the towns, Whitman and Hanson. Same thing with South Shore Tech, what's affordable to all the towns in the district. We have Norfolk Aggie, and that's very expensive to send kids there. But if somebody wants that as a learning tool, we're not going to deny them. They have a right to get the type of education that they desire. So I can't, even though I think Norfolk Aggie is like $28,000 a student to the town, if we have 4 or 5 kids that want to go there, we can't say no. It's the wrong thing to do.
You're a big fan of the trades?
Yes, right? I mean, I'm not, I came from Star Market. I was a department manager and a warehouse supervisor. So, I mean, as far as that concerned, but I like to deal local. My electrician is next door to me. My plumber is in the center of town. If I need somebody, a builder, or something repaired, it's in Whitman, right? My insurance, auto insurance, in Whitman. My house insurance, in Whitman, dealing with dealers. Why not? Why wouldn't I support our town? But I think the biggest thing is I'm worried about is when finally the pot shops, we want to call them that, open up.
Recreational marijuana?
Recreational marijuana. And is that going to become an issue? People are telling me no. I know that Abington has no problems, at least not that I've heard of. Plimpton.
Brockton.
Right? I mean, if they're not having problems, I guess I'm wrong by not supporting it, but that's just me, right? But as I say, town meeting voted for it. Whether they voted for it because of the cat money that will finally come in, or the fact that they use it. It's them. Because a lot of people say, look, if we don't do it, towns around us have it, they're only going to go there. So why throw that revenue away? And I agree on that end.
We're at that time where things are winding down.
Okay.
This is your opportunity to share any campaign information you want to give to the folks who are tuned in, or even just kind of reinforce why they should return you to the select board for an 8th term.
Okay. As I said, my name's Dan Salvucci. I am on a lot of boards and committees. I was on the finance committee, so I deal with numbers. Actually, I graduated from Bentley's. My company sent me to Bentley's for a certificate in business management. But anyways, that's one of the reasons why I get on the finance committee, to extend that and then change the selectmen when I didn't like some of the things that the board was doing. But that being said, I like to give back to the town. That's why I'm on so many boards and committees. And like the JTC, Joint Transportation and Metropolitan, that helps with our transportation needs. The four-way stop that's by Franklin Street, right? That was requested by our police chief and fire chief. I promoted it. It's done. the four-way stop intersections of 18 and 14 and 27, right? Those were concerns with traffic, right, by the police and fire. I promoted it. It got on the tip. They're completed. Park Street and West Street, that four-way intersection, right? That was a big issue. Both chiefs came to me, and I said, okay. I brought it up, and now that's been repaired with a four-way stop. So it's the safety. As I say, South Shore Votech, I enjoy being on the school committee and promoting the education of vocational schools. And you name it. MBTA in Plymouth County. Plymouth County, I pushed when COVID came and we had all those funds at the state. The state wanted to take it over, saying that they had the facilities to set up and give the towns what they needed. I said, no, Plymouth County knows Plymouth County better than the state does. Plymouth County should do that. And I pushed for that, and we had 2 towns that didn't want it.
I believe you also mentioned you are on the Plymouth County Advisory Board.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Right? So.
And I pushed for that, and because of that, we were able to get a lot of funding. We've used up all our money. We just received a check for $2.2 million.
It's amazing.
Right, for the water and sewer, and we just received over a $300,000 check for a new fire engine, ambulance. So, I mean, that being said, being on these boards and committees as an elected official allows me to push to get things done for the town of Whitman, and that's what I enjoy doing.
Well, Dan, thank you for sitting down with me.
Yeah.
Once again, seems like we do this every 3 years, talking about your campaign. Like, I wish all the candidates, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Come on the 3rd Saturday in May.
Yeah, the 18th, I believe.
The 18th. And I want to thank you for tuning into programs like this, Conversations with the Candidates. The idea is to help you be better educated when you go into the ballot, and you go into the booth and you mark your ballot. If you have any questions in regards to how to vote, contact the town clerk's office, whether you're in Whitman or in Hanson. That's the best way to find out what's going on. Until our next conversation, have yourself a great day.